What's happening, everybody? Justin, Bridgewater's finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, and welcome to week 11 of my weekly NFL pick show for the 2013-2014 NFL season. You'll notice I'm not as sleepy at the beginning of this show. We're mid-afternoon here. We're going to get this going. You might also notice I'm wearing a hockey jersey. Yeah, I know it's a football show, and I should be wearing a football jersey. I actually don't own a football jersey, but I haven't shown any love to my Halifax Mooseheads this year. Memorial Cup champions from last year. I haven't shown them any love in any videos yet this year, and these are my boys. Don't try to take me away from my boys, goddammit. In any case, it's time to get into this. We're going to talk about what happened in Week 10 before we move on to the picks for Week 11. Week 10, kind of the inverse of what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. Straight up, Week 10 wasn't overly great, but against the spread and over-under, I finally broke out for the first week since fucking Week 2 of this year. I finally broke out and had a good record picking against the spread and over-under. So let's start there with the top two. Against the spread, I was 1-1 in Week 10. I told you to take Dallas +7. That didn't work out. New Orleans kind of blew them out of the water. But I quite correctly told you to take Jacksonville +11. Not only did they make sure that +11 worked out, they won that game. Holy crap. So Jacksonville +11 worked out. Dallas +7 didn't. 1-1 there. 9-11 picking against the spread this year. Over-under, got them both. I told you to take Washington and Minnesota over 50 points. That worked out. And I told you to take Indianapolis and St. Louis over 44. That worked out too, but not in the way that anyone would have possibly expected it to work out, as that was another upset that came out of Week 10. So I was 2-0 picking over-under. I'm also 9-11 over-under this year, so 18-22, but based off what happened last week, moving in the right direction. Let's take a look at how the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks did in week number 10. We start with the bronze pick. I told you to take Seattle over Atlanta. Well, of course that worked out. Seattle trumps Atlanta 33-10, avenging that playoff loss from, it was a couple years ago now, I think. Seattle controlled every single aspect of this game. Through the air, on the ground, defensively. This game was never in doubt. This game was over at halftime. Atlanta is just falling completely apart, and Seattle just continues to roll, and Seattle looking strong as ever. Silver pick, I told you to take Arizona to beat Houston. That one worked out by a field goal. Arizona 27, Houston 24. This is 7 straight losses for the Texans. Although Case Keenum did throw 3 touchdowns in this game, so it looks like they got a quarterback now that can do something, because Schaub just really wasn't doing anything this year. But Arian Foster is done for 2013. What is this going to mean for the Texans moving forward? Now they're stuck with Ben Tate and whoever's behind Ben Tate on the depth chart. Gonna have to see if Ben Tate can carry the workload of a starting running back. My gold pick, I told you to take the Tennessee Titans over Jacksonville. That didn't work out. Jacksonville beats up on Tennessee. Tennessee tried to make a comeback, fell a little bit short there in the fourth quarter. Jacksonville wins 29-27. This is an inexcusable loss for the Tennessee Titans, and confirms my theory that Tennessee is a terrible team. That is 100% accurate. The Tennessee Titans are frauds. Congratulations to Jacksonville for winning their first game of the season. Hallelujah. Thanks, guys. I don't think it's going to be 2 in a row this week. And the platinum pick, probably the most unexplainable shit-kicking of the NFL season this year. St. Louis goes and clobbers Indianapolis 38-8. At the very least, it still went over on the number, so I got that right, but 38-8, that is crazy. That's my first platinum pick lost this year. That's unfortunate, but I couldn't explain this. And Tavon Austin comes out of it looking like a superstar, 138 yards and 2 touchdowns, but that was, of course, only on 2 catches, one of them being an 81-yarder that I don't know where Indy's defense was in this game. It was just totally out to lunch. Cool that St. Louis did that and could sort of put up that kind of a show after a couple of real bad losses at home. But I don't understand where this came from Indy. I'm going to imagine this is just a blip on the radar for the Colts. We'll have to see moving forward. So I got my bronze, got my silver, missed the 2 biggies, missed the gold, and missed the platinum. Overall in week 10, I was only 7-7. I only hit 500, so that's kind of unfortunate. 90 up, 57 down for the season in the 81st percentile on Yahoo. If you'll notice, those numbers didn't really move much, so it was a bad week for everybody. Looking at the private pick'em pool, I still sit in third place out of 22, 787 of 1,160 possible confidence points, a clip of 68%. And in week 10, I was only able to rake in 55 of 105 possible confidence points, only a clip of 52%. However, as I said, most other people struggled this week. The winner, congratulations to LoadingFishMode, that is their first win in the pick'em pool this year, was 8-6 and only got 60 of 105 possible confidence points, a clip of 57% on the confidence points there for LoadingFishMode. The leader remains Jayshon McCutownler, or however the hell they want to put it. Jay Cutler for MVP. We'll put it that way. Jay Cutler for MVP, Chicago_span on Twitter, follow his ass. Still leads the league, 92 up, 55 down, so 2 up, 2 down from me. 805 of 1,160 possible confidence points, a clip of 69%. As you can see there, first and third, only separated by less than 20 points. Still very, very close at the top. Congratulations to LoadingFishMode for winning Week 10, and for Chicago_span, and all the many incarnations of his name for remaining the overall leader. Now let's get into our picks here for Week 11. We're going to start with the top two, over-under and against the spread. I'm going to start on over-under. I got a good overplay here for you right at the beginning. My favorite OU play this week comes in the Jacksonville-Arizona game. Number here, very, very tiny, 41. Jacksonville's been putting up some points in the last couple of games, although I think at home this year they're only averaging like 5 points scored a game because they have that, I think, that 2-pointer and then a 3-pointer in their first 2 games. I think they've only scored 1 offensive touchdown at home all year, but it's been pretty bad for Jacksonville at home. But they're playing Arizona. Arizona scoring at a fairly decent clip this year. It's okay. I can see him getting into the end zone a couple of times. 41 points is just not very many, even though Jacksonville has struggled at times this year. They're putting up some points here in their most recent few games, so I'm going to take over 41 on that one. Jacksonville, Arizona. Suggest you do the same. My second favorite OU play this week comes in the Tampa Bay-Atlanta game. Number here is 42.5. Now, obviously, Atlanta's defense has been one of their cruxes this year. Their defense has not been good. It's given up 30 points pretty consistently this year. And Tampa Bay, obviously, just coming off of their first win this year, I believe. It's hard to think of these two teams really not stopping the other team from scoring points, but it's also hard to think of them scoring points. These are two offenses that are having problems right now. Matt Ryan not looking like the same quarterback. It's a small number, but I'm actually going to go under on it. I think I've got a little bit of resistance on that from some experts, but I'm actually going to take the under in this game. So Tampa Bay, Atlanta, I'm going to tell you to go under 42.5. See, on the top two, I don't always pick the easiest games. Now let's take a look at against the spread. My favorite ATS play this week comes in the Kansas City-Denver game. That game is in Mile High Stadium. The Broncos are favored by 9.5 points at home. Too many with arguably the best defense in football. Now yes, Denver is far and away the best offense in football, but at the same time, Manning's still kind of hobbled up. He's going to play. There's no problem there. But he is hobbled up. Wes Welker has completely disappeared from the offense, I believe, over the last couple of games. And I just think Kansas City's defense is good enough that they can get maybe a turnover or two here and keep the game low-scoring enough that 9.5 points is way too many. You can't forget, Kansas City is an undefeated team. Kansas City is one of the elite teams in football right now. So I just think the defense is too good. So in Denver versus KC, where Denver's favored by 9.5, take the dog there, KC plus 9.5. And my second favorite against the spread play this week comes in the Baltimore at Chicago game. That number is Chicago favored by 2.5 points at home, and that's the way I'm going to go with this. I'm still not a big believer in Baltimore on the road, really in Baltimore in any context so far this season. It's not that they're playing terribly, they're certainly not playing like the same team. Baltimore's not playing the way they have. Chicago's not playing the way they have, really. These are two teams that are kind of in a bit of a disarray here. Like, we don't really know. We think they're good teams, but we're not 1,000% sure where they're going. Based on the fact that Chicago's at home, Chicago's put up good numbers at home. If their defense can get a stop or two, which Baltimore's offense hasn't looked the greatest this year. So if Chicago can get a stop or two, they should be able to win this game relatively easily. So I like that -2.5. So in Baltimore at Chicago, take Chicago -2.5. So now let's look at the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks for week 11. Going to try to come back after that 2-2 week last week where I lost out on the top two picks. Going to start with the bronze pick where I am 7-3 this year. We're going to just go right back to that game we just talked about, Chicago, Baltimore. I like Chicago at home, and I won't really say too much more about it. I just, again, not a big believer in Baltimore on the road. I think Baltimore's defense is still a little banged up. So I like the Mark Trestman-led Chicago Bears, no matter who's playing at quarterback. Looks like it's not going to be Jay Cutler. He looks like he's, I think, week to week now with his injury. I still like Chicago at home. I still think that offense can move, even with McCown at quarterback. So I like the Bears to beat the Ravens at home for my bronze pick. Silver pick, where I am also 7-3 this year. We're going to go back to a game that we just talked about very recently, Arizona at Jacksonville. Now, again, Jacksonville is at home here. They got to be on a high after finally winning a game. Arizona is going to go in and curb stomp Jacksonville. And it's not even like I'm a huge believer in Arizona. It's just Jacksonville is not a team that wins 2 games in a row. Matter of fact, they've, again, as we said, struggled scoring at home more than they have on the road. So Arizona's going to go in, play a very tight defensive game, shut down Maurice Jones-Drew, and the Jags just going to have nowhere to go. Arizona's going to roll in this game. So take Arizona on the road. I'm taking them for my silver pick to beat the Jags. Moving to the gold pick where I am 8-2 on the season, I'm looking at the Cincinnati Bengals playing host to the Cleveland Browns in a divisional matchup of the AFC North. Now, Cincinnati has been kind of hit and miss lately, losing a game that I thought they should have won. They've been kind of hit and miss lately, not as consistent as I would like to see them. I'm just not seeing anything special out of Cleveland, and especially given that this game is at home, I'm going to roll with the Bengals here. I think the Bengals should be able to, I think the number here is 5.5. I think the Bengals should easily be able to cover 5.5. I think they're going to win this game fairly handily, 2 or 3 possession game. So in Cleveland at Cincinnati, for my gold pick, I'm taking the Bengals at home to beat the Browns. And we'll go to the platinum pick. Kind of licking my wounds, losing my first platinum pick of the year. 9-1 on the platinum pick this year. And you know what? Sue me, I'm going to take the easy one. Seattle at home against Minnesota. I was going to take this game for one of the over-unders until I realized I took a Minnesota game last week, so I didn't want to take 2 in a row. Seattle will destroy. Russell Wilson will account for at least 3 touchdowns. Minnesota's going to put up their points. This game's going to go over whatever the number was. I can't remember what it was, maybe 50.5. Game's definitely going to go over. But in Minnesota at Seattle, you all know what's going to happen. Seahawks roll and really picking up momentum there, heading towards the playoffs. Now let's take a look at the rest of my Week 11 picks in the National Football League. Here they are. That's the Week 11 show for you folks. Comments, hate, and love in the comments section below, so long as you have a Google Plus account and YouTube will let you. Wanted to give you a fantasy football update, and really the only league that matters right now is the YouTube Prognosticators League. No disrespect to my other ones, but the YouTube Prognosticators League is where it's at. And I am on a 5-game winning streak. I avenged my loss from the first week of the season to Sean Ryan. This week I'm stepping up to the other half of Team Take'em, Billy B, and I'm a bitch slap him and send him packing just like I did to the highlights in this show. Billy B, I'ma break ya. That's it for me, Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Good luck with your picks in Week 11. We'll see you back here for Week 12.